Tonight on CTV News at 5.
Social media has been a significant driver of worse mental health indicators, and I would also look at these economic indicators.
Stressed out, anxiety levels continue to surge for young people across the country.
Nova Scotians understand that. We empathize very much with the Cuban people. We want to help.
Help is on the way. Maritimers fill a container with relief items bound for Cuba.
The geese have kind of taken it upon themselves, and they've doubled their flock.
And growing goslings, the next generation of Sullivan's Pond geese make a splash at the popular park.
Frost advisories remain in effect for the region. Another clear but brisk night ahead.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Panopoulos. Thank you for joining us. First at 5 tonight, anxious times. Over the last decade, there's been increased attention on mental health, and for good reason. Rates of depression and anxiety have skyrocketed, especially for youth and children. CTV's Emma Convey looked into the alarming trend and why so many young people are struggling. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Maria. Today I spoke with some experts that have been studying these numbers when it comes to kids and youth struggling with mental health. They say it's a global issue that's only getting worse. Gabby Schollard has always battled with her mental health. It was hardest in high school.
I was caught with depression, anxiety, all of it, and I started writing down reasons to stay alive in my bedside journal just out of desperation.
During her recovery, she wrote her first book, Why I Stay. 365 reasons to stay alive when your mind is giving you every reason not to.
Dealing with it growing up, I really couldn't regulate myself. I didn't have the tools. And recently, in this past year or so, as a 22-year-old, I started going to therapy, and I really found my faith and leaned into that.
Anxiety is a topic many young people can relate to.
About 1 in 4, 1 in 5 approximately, somewhere between that 20 to 25% of young people are diagnosable with a mental health condition at any given time. And the challenge, of course, is with mental health, a lot of times it's not curing that, it's treating that as a lifelong challenge.
And a global problem. A decade-long study out of Harvard found a staggering trend.
By 2023, we saw about 15% or 1 in 7 primary care visits included a mental health need. And I think most notably, we saw really stark increases in anxiety-related visits, nearly a 300% increase over 10 years. And those increases were especially concentrated in teens, especially female teens.
Researcher Cole Brahim says there are a number of contributing factors.
That exposure to social media, constant access to screens and digital technology, heightened academic pressures and competitive pressures, alongside a lot of disruptions that we saw during the pandemic, can really drive some of those symptoms.
It's very interesting, the recent studies and research showing how anxiety is on a rise. And we have a generation of children that are more connected through technology and less connected emotionally. And I don't think we can ignore that.
And the symptoms are hard to ignore too, from panic attacks to lack of motivation.
I think we got to go back to the roots, back to the basics of human connection, emotional connection, and getting back into our bodies, which means going outside. It means time for creative play.
Something Schollard has put into practice as she writes her third book focused on anxiety.
Don't wait until you're drowning to seek help. I think that was something that really was my downfall.
And Maria, the statistics we see in studies consider the young people who have come forward. The experts I spoke with today explain that not all youth and children do, so there are many without a diagnosis who are struggling in silence. Maria.
Oh, eye-opening. Thank you, Emma. CTV's Emma Convey for us in the news center this evening. All right, let's head over to the anchor desk where Todd Battis has been standing by with a look at the headlines. Hi there, Todd.
Hi, Maria. And if you're keeping score, this might be play number 3 or number 4. There is yet another new proposal for a stadium in the Halifax area. This to be located near the airport. An American group is behind the major entertainment complex that would host professional sports teams and serve as a concert venue. The development would include housing as well. We'll have the details for you and who's behind this at 6 o'clock. Just days after the Alderney ferry traveling between Halifax and Dartmouth returned to its regularly scheduled runs, It's back to reduce harbor crossings because of, yes, you guessed it, ferry repairs. One of the vessels is now out of service because of a steering problem. Coming up at 6, we'll have reaction. The labor and delivery unit at New Brunswick's Upper River Valley Hospital is closed for a week. That means pregnant women will have to travel to Fredericton to give birth. The health minister is trying to reassure people that the closure will be temporary. We will have more, and we'll hear from the minister tonight at 6 o'clock. Caitlin Mitchell is in the Weather Center right now with some good-looking numbers on what was largely a pleasant day through the region.
Yeah, plenty of sunshine today across the Maritimes. It was brisk first thing in the morning, and it's going to be like that again for tomorrow. And once again for tonight, there's a risk of some frost in the region. As we take a look at temperatures now, though, moving towards the first part of this evening, there are some cooler spots, and that does include some eastern areas of Nova Scotia. In Cape Breton right now, the temperature is between 7 and 10 degrees. A few parts of Prince Edward Island, Charlottetown right now, a little bit cooler, sitting at 11. And up in the north of New Brunswick, got 12 degrees near Charlotte as well as Bathurst. Milder temperatures, though, in the southwest of New Brunswick, where some are up between 17 and 19 degrees, so 13 at Grand Manan. And then in western areas of Nova Scotia, temperatures between 13 and 16 degrees. Here's a look at the winds. And they're out of the northwest, and they're being sustained mostly between 20 and 30 kilometers per hour. We did get a few wind gusts today, reported between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. Those gusts will continue to diminish as we head through this evening and tonight. The wind direction, though, will generally remain out of the northwest for tonight and for tomorrow. Over on radar and satellite, don't have anything to show you. It's a large area of high pressure that's building in from the west of us, and that's going to be in place into the start of the weekend. So again, clear night, a little bit brisk, more sunshine for Saturday, relatively clear conditions Saturday night. Then we'll start to see some cloud cover return to the Maritimes on Sunday. I mentioned the frost, and there's the frost advisories out for all 3 maritime provinces. So to any of the early season gardeners who have anything temperature sensitive out, they cover up or bring inside tonight, it would be a good idea to do so. Maria.
Good advice. Thank you, Kaylin. We'll see you in just a little bit. Right now, though, time for our first break on CTV News at 5. Coming up next, we'll head to Sydney, where CTV's Ryan McDonald will bring us the big winners from last night's East Coast Music Awards Gala. And a little later, we have this story.
I'm Vanessa Wright in Halifax, where volunteers are loading up much-needed supplies for people in Cuba. That story is still to come on CTV News at 5.
Big dreams and heartfelt moments. Tune in and donate to the 42nd IWK Telethon for Children May 31st. Your generosity provides world-class care to families across the Maritimes. The IWK Telethon live on CTV. East Coast Music Week is underway in Cape Breton right now. Last night, some big awards were handed out at the ECMA Gala. CTV's Ryan McDonald joins us now from downtown Sydney with a look at the winners. Hi there, Ryan.
Why, hello, Maria. Don't you wish you were here? I know from your entertainment background, you would have enjoyed this weekend. I'm here at the NSCC New Marconi Waterfront campus in downtown Sydney, which has been kind of a home base of sorts for a lot of the ECMA activities this weekend. And the weekend's really getting set to transition from the awards portion of things, which happened last night at Sydney Centre 200, to the real ECMA weekend party itself. And fittingly enough, some big-name Cape Bretoners took home some of the top awards at the gala last night. The big winner, of course, was someone who grew up 15 minutes down the road in Reserve Mines. Goldie Boutillier took home both Album of the Year and the Breakthrough Artist of the Year awards. Boutillier has been open here on our broadcast about some of what she has overcome to have this sort of success, but she wasn't the only big comeback story last night. Glace Bay rocker Elise Aaron won Release of the Year. This, of course, after she recently spent months rehabbing after a pretty serious motorcycle accident in her hometown. And then there was Mi'kmaq fiddler Morgan Toney, who is from Wagmacook First Nation. He was named Indigenous Artist of the Year. The Barra McNeils were honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Video of the Year went to Aaron McDonald for Beaches and Bands. He remarked that it was his first time ever winning an award in 30 years doing this. Lenny Gallant won Folk Release of the Year. That certainly wasn't his first award. Cassie and Maggie got Group of the Year. Several other big winners are listed on our website. Speaking with Goldie Boutillier earlier today, she said this weekend has been a full circle experience for her, to say the least.
I'm really proud to represent Cape Breton. Cape Breton is giving me my grit, my stubbornness, my inability to argue in a way that makes any sense. And I'm so proud to be from here. So it was really nice.
And sticking with Goldie Boutillier for just a minute, she just dropped a brand new single called Party from her new album. I listened to the song today. It's really good. And just today, the music video for that song was released, so she has quite a lot to celebrate. And as far as this weekend is concerned, things take to the streets tomorrow. There will be free shows tomorrow afternoon and evening on the Esplanade here in downtown Sydney. Then on Sunday, things move up the hill to Membertou First Nation for the Songwriters Circle before the party all wraps up at the end of the day Sunday before they start to get ready for ECMA's 2027 next year, which are in Moncton. Back to you, Maria.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. Have a lot of fun out there. Congratulations to Goldie and all the winners so far. What a weekend it's going to be. And by the way, Ryan will be back at 6 o'clock with more sights and sounds from the East Coast Music Awards. Don't miss that at 6 o'clock. You'll be back at 6, but right now it's 5. And what are we looking at?
Well, weather's certainly going to be cooperating for those outdoor events for the East Coast Music Awards as they continue on into Saturday, although they'd probably like the temperature to maybe come up a few degrees in Cape Breton. It was nothing but sunshine basically across the maritime region for today. Similar conditions in the forecast to get the weekend started, and I'll have the details when we come back after the break.
Tonight is the absolute final deadline in the New Brunswick Hospital Home Lottery and your last chance to win. Buy your tickets before midnight tonight to be in to win the $1.4 million grand prize show home plus $50,000 cash. And don't forget, there are so many more prizes. Visit the link section of our website for more information. Good luck, everybody. Kaylin Mitchell joins us now with a look at how things are shaping up for the weekend. Kaylin, I have to say, I think a lot of us kind of jumped the gun and might have needed an extra layer today. A little chilly at times, hey?
Yeah, especially during the morning hours. And then for eastern parts of the region, it was held a little bit cooler throughout the day. I mentioned Cape Breton, one of those locations in the Maritimes tomorrow as well, where they'd probably like the temperatures up maybe a couple more degrees, despite the fact that it's going to look like this again across the Maritimes. That is blue sky. We're looking out here at Enfield, Nova Scotia, as we take a check-in on our sunrise and sunset times around the Maritime region. Is an area of high pressure that is going to be in place throughout much of the weekend, though it does begin to shift towards the east of us for the start of next week. And right now, early next week, there's a chance some returning rain and some showers, which we'll need at that point because it will have been a bit of a dry stretch by then. Taking a look at our weather systems map, barometric pressure is, of course, towards the higher side, and that area of high pressure is going to be moving closer towards us as we head into Saturday. Right now, it's centered over a large area of western Quebec and then down into parts of the northeastern United States. Taking a look at things on radar, nothing to show you. Radar picture is clear. It's going to remain that way as we move through tonight and into tomorrow. No precipitation in the forecast and very little cloud cover expected as well as we make our way through the night and into the early morning hours of Saturday. We do have frost advisories out for all 3 maritime provinces. Remember, the ingredients for frost are a clear sky, which we're going to have, lighter winds. Winds will continue to ease as we make our way through tonight. And, of course, some brisk temperatures and a lot of low temperatures in the Maritimes tonight. Headed down towards the low to mid-single digits with some locations right around the freezing mark. So a little bit chilly to start off Saturday morning. Moving into Saturday afternoon, though, it remains sunny and temperatures bounce back up across much of the region, remaining again a little bit cooler. Parts of Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia. Moving forward into Saturday evening and Saturday night, clear conditions prevail across the Maritimes. And then on Sunday, fairly sunny to start the day, but then we'll start to see some increasing cloudiness as we move into and through Sunday afternoon as that high pressure system finally begins to move away. Here's a look at the wind gusts in the forecast for tonight and for tomorrow. So the winds becoming a little bit lighter, but remaining out of the north and northwest by the time we get to around midnight. And then in the forecast for Saturday, those winds out of the north and northwest and mostly sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. The gusts around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. So that's a little bit lower compared to where they were today. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight around the Maritimes in the province of New Brunswick. Most of the lows falling into a range of 0 to 2 degrees. A little bit chillier, though, up around the northwest, Edmundston down to around -4. For Charlottetown tonight, low temperature down to around 2 degrees. And in Nova Scotia, most of the low temperatures falling into a range of 0 to 4 degrees, with parts of the coast with some lows between 4 and 6. Here's a look at your high temperatures in the forecast for Saturday, and they do come up a couple degrees for the province of New Brunswick. So there, a lot of the highs between 17 and 20. In Prince Edward Island, the high temperatures 10 to 14 degrees, and same thing goes for eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton. Much of the rest of Nova Scotia with high temperatures on Saturday between 14 and 17. The wind direction changes a little bit for Sunday. It becomes a southwest wind, and that means temperatures climb another couple degrees, but this time across the entirety of the Maritimes. There is some increase in cloudiness on Sunday, but most of the high temperatures will get back up into the high teens and low 20s. So it'll be a little bit warmer at the end of the weekend. Let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from 8-year-old Rory Blunden from Glace Bay, Nova Scotia. Rory has sent us a drawing of having fun at the beach. I see seagulls and a nice big beach umbrella. Some people having some fun there in the water with a beach ball as well. Thank you, Rory. Fun drawing. Weather watchers can come in anytime to CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or email kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. So volunteers in Halifax spent the day packing much-needed medical supplies en route to Cuba, where a humanitarian crisis continues. As CTV's Vanessa Wright shows us, it's one example of how Canadians have stepped up to help Cubans.
Volunteers working around the clock to load this 40-foot container. Inside, hundreds of boxes filled with medical supplies, musical instruments, and bikes. It's headed for Cuba, where a humanitarian crisis hasn't slowed.
There are 11,000 pregnant women waiting for an ultrasound. Can't have one because there's no electricity in the hospitals. 106,000 surgeries have been put off, including 10,000 for children. Why? Because of the lack of fuel in the hospitals.
It's residue from a blockade put in place by U.S. President Donald Trump.
Basically, he said that any ships that came to Cuba bringing fuel would have massive tariffs put upon them, and there would be further measures. As a result, there was only one ship bringing petroleum in 4 months that came to Cuba,
leaving doctors there without transportation. But help is on the way, courtesy of dozens of Maritimers who've donated their items.
It's very difficult to replace anything that wears out, and musical instruments wear out. Also, there's always a new generation of musicians coming up, and Cuba is certainly famous for their musicians. So it was a way that I could help.
And what better way to do so, especially for a friendship that has flourished for decades.
Nova Scotia and Cuba have got very, very close ties. The very first consulate of Cuba in Canada was not in Montreal or Toronto or Ottawa or Halifax. It was in Yarmouth.
From here, the container will be trucked to the port of Halifax, then on a ship where it's expected to arrive in Cuba's capital in a few weeks. I hope it will serve as a reminder to Cubans that they haven't been forgotten.
The Ebola outbreak, which we're now seeing in Western Africa, Cuba was the first country when the last Ebola outbreak took place a decade ago to send doctors there. So Cuba has done its part for the international community. It's time now for us to reciprocate.
In true maritime fashion, by giving back. Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right, time for our final break, but first a preview of our next story.
Hi, I'm Tim Rosesco, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the population boom that we're having here in downtown Dartmouth a little later on the show.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter. You can win a brand new bike every day with Bike a Day in May.
Listen for the Bike Bells every weekday between 8 and 9 and on the weekends between 11 and 12.
To block every fight.
Oh, can you see them there? Firefighters in Owen Sound, Ontario came to the rescue of a family of ducks recently. They were called to a sewer grate that had as many as 10 ducklings stuck at the bottom of it. One by one, the ducklings were scooped from the sewers. Crews only took about 20 minutes to reunite the concerned mother and her tiny babies. Oh, well done. And speaking of babies, Sullivan's Pond has some new residents, and they've attracted a lot of visitors to the Dartmouth Park. CTV's Paul DeWitt now gives us a bird's eye view.
Well, we're pretty excited to have baby geese up here at Sullivan's Pond. The group of geese that we have are very famous. They're like the unofficial mascots of downtown Dartmouth and Sullivan's Pond. And this year, to find out last Saturday that we had 7 baby goslings up here has created an incredible amount of excitement. People are coming for walks around Sullivan's Pond. They're grabbing their coffees downtown Dartmouth, coming up here, taking pictures of the geese, posting them on social media. It's created quite a flurry of activity. People want to grow or expand the flock of geese that we have at Sullivan's Pond, and we've been asking the city to maybe buy 1 or 2 more geese. The geese have kind of taken it upon themselves, and they've doubled their flock this year. We've gone from 6 or 7 geese to 6 or 7 geese plus 7 goslings. So the pond is pretty healthy with geese for this summer, and everybody is watching them grow.
They're just amazing. Love animals. They're all, even the crows. You like them too. You have to be an animal lover to enjoy this.
We know everybody loves the Sullivan's Pond geese, and they're certainly a part of the culture and the way of life in Dartmouth. But it is important during this delicate time with babies to give them lots of space. If you have a dog, please keep it on a lead just to keep the baby safe. And don't get too close, or they'll let you know if you're a little too close.
They seem even bigger to me this weekend than they were last weekend, and they're well cared for. The crew at Parks with HRM, they come and they feed them daily. The sun came out at the right time. The geese had their goslings at the right time. It's just a great time to get out, enjoy the parks, and go for walks in downtown Dartmouth.
They are so absolutely adorable, but for their safety and for yours, keep your distance, right? If you're from the area, you know what I mean.
But for viewing from a safe distance, this weekend would be fantastic for it, because we are looking at a lot of sunshine in the weekend forecast. Sunny days, some clear nights. Because the nights are clear, they're still going to be getting a little brisk, and there's a risk of some frost. We've got some frost advisories in effect. So coming up at CTV News at 6, we will recap that. Then we're going to look forward to ahead when we could expect to see some rain and some showers return to the region, because we don't want to go too long without those, Maria.
No, absolutely not. Kaylin, thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, everyone. The national news is next. Good night.